Warning, this podcast is produced by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment. It contains unsolicited and heavily biased opinions which are solely the views of the individuals involved. It does not include investment advice of any kind. You are responsible for undertaking your own financial, including tax liability research relevant to your own individual circumstances.
Alrighty, thank you for listening to or watching the Upland Downunder podcast. Tonight's show is recording live on Wednesday, the 23rd of August at 7:30 p.m. AEST. And no, Mars, Utah, I didn't make that time zone up, mate. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, PT and KMA. On tonight's show, I'll catch up on some crypto and Upland market news and then dive into some general Upland news, including the Tokyo Shibuya collection reveal, of course, neighborhood ratings update, Dirk's latest podcast appearance, and some engaging updates to Upland racing. That'll segue into tonight's main topic, which is the building hype around the imminent release of the first batch of the Stock Car Pro Series cars. Vroom, vroom. Or is that a giant distraction from some other potentially totem-ish hints being dropped on Twitter? The mind boggles and the UPEX balances quiver, I guess you could say. I've also got a few Web3 and Metaverse news updates to cover, a quips on FIFA Legits, and another on covert FSA releases. And of course, I'll be outlining a new weekly contest challenge for the NBA server. All that and more on this, the Upland Downunder podcast. Now, if you are wondering how you can take part in the live recordings of this very podcast, to jump on in with your own biased opinions or just lurk about to have a shot with any of the live participants at some giveaways and prizes, well, you have to be in the NBA server, the link to which is, of course, down there in the description. I drop the link to the Zoom every week about 15 minutes prior to recording, just like the old YouTube podcast schedule. Only the timing is different, of course. Now, if you got no idea how 7:30 p.m. AST on a Wednesday night relates to your own time zone, well, then you're going to have to do yourself some homework. I use and recommend the Dateful time zone converter. The link to that will also be in the description. So make sure you go and check that one out. As I always do, let's have a look at some Breaking Badly news and take a look at what's happening currently in the crypto and Upland markets. Now, there was a lot of blood last week. I was expecting more this week, but it's actually, well, I say last week, but it was only, when was that? Friday night. So it's not a full week yet, of course. And I can't get Zoom out of the road. There we go. So yes, not a full week, but a lot of sideways chop this week. So, you know, it was, what's the global market cap? Flirting with that 1 trillion again. 0.3% drop, still above 1 trillion, of course, 1.057. Bitcoin dominance is still pretty steady. Like I said, with the coins, it's a lot of choppage action. When I looked at the Bitcoin chart, it was just chop, chop, chop sideways. So not a whole lot happening there. I guess it's which way you're betting. Are we going green? Are we going red? Almost 2% down for the Bitcoin. Ethereum's a bit over 2.5, so 2.8. Wax is pretty flat. Engine, not much happening there. Ripple, funnily enough, has had a tiny little boost, up 2.1%. Based on all of the news going on with that currently. Solana's down 6.3%, flirting back with that $20 mark. EOS is flat at 58 cents. Polygon down 5% to 55 cents. Cardano flat at 26 cents. Tron's not moving much. Flow's not moving much. Avalanche is down a smidge as well, 6.2% down to just over $10. Shiba's is not doing much, and neither is Gala. So, yeah, not much happening there. Feed and greed index, I patched that in this week. It's always interesting to keep a look on that. 34, and we're in the orange, just kind of dipped over in the orange with a little bit of fear. So, as we said, we'll wait and see on that one. 90-day averages for Upland. As I mentioned last week, it's going to take a while for all of the new Tokyo City stuff to filter through to this and have any impact because it is the 90 days, which, you know, takes a while to average out. So still slip sliding away, down 4.9% on the trading volume. Now, kind of, we're going to, if it doesn't turn around soon, we're going to be flirting with under 2,000 at some stage. And the transaction volume just over 34.7 million. So that one's going to be a weird one too. I expect that'll jump heftily based on some of the numbers that we've been thrown around with how much money was being spent in Tokyo. One person, I believe, somebody said they were back from the dead and spent 30-something million. So I have to wait and see on that one. It'll be interesting to watch that. Probably as part of that bump, we can see in the unique active wallets in the 7 days, as I said, it's not 7 days, but this definitely has the Tokyo kind of factor figured into it. On Friday last week, we were 55,420 unique active wallets, and we're up to just under 60,000. So 6.6% boost on the unique active wallets there. Total unminted properties, I've got that marked in yellow because, again, that'll probably take a while to sort itself out. But even after the Tokyo City release, it looks like we've still got, we've gone plus 1,991 properties out and about there. So we'll have to wait and see. Percentage of properties minted, of course, hasn't fluctuated much, still on 92%. City markets, some of these have had pretty big turnarounds, actually. I guess probably things like stock cars and Protems Totems hasn't started figuring to the floors just yet, although, what do we got here? San Francisco is up on both the UPX and USD, just under $8 and just over 18,000 UPX. Manhattan is flat on the UPX, just under 60,000, and it's had a 12% drop on the USD. It was $28 last week, down to $25 this week, just under. Flat in Chicago, pretty flat in LA. Bronx has had a bit of a drop in the UPX, but a boost on the USD. Rio, oh, look at that. Rio was 4,489 UPX last week, up to 5,000 this week. Now, it is marked as red, so perhaps I missed one of those locked properties or janked out properties last week. So take that with a grain of salt. But currently, I know that number's right because I double checked it. 5,000 is the lowest as of recording. Can't go lower than $3, of course. So that's flat on zero. What else have we got? Santa Clara up 15.8%, was just under 24,000 last week. Now we're up to 28,500. Not much happening in Brooklyn. Not much happening in Detroit. Dallas has had a bit of a boost on the UPX, was 11,420 last week, up to 12,000. And Rutherford's taken almost a 10% hit on the UPX price, was 29,499 last week. Why is that like that? Oh, yeah, and down to 26,880 this week, and flat at 12.99 on the USD. London also flat on the USD at $16, but it has had a almost 5% boost on the UPX. Was 31,500 last week, up to 33,111 this week. Now, of course, Tokyo, we had the UPX price for the floor last week, but we didn't have the USD floor. That come out the gate at about $7. I flipped a few around the $7.25, $7.50 range, something like that. It has since been gobbled up to $8.48. So we'll get the percentage boost on that next week, of course. And the UPX floor has gone up 16.2% to 18,500. Surprised that hasn't gone up further, to be honest. With we do know the collection reveal is imminent, so have to wait and see. Now, mark Dallas as green there because currently within the cities that I kind of cover here, that's kind of your best bang for your buck, or in this case, it's your best buck for your UPX bang. You can buy for 11,420 and selling for just under 7,000, which that's pretty good. Of course, there are better percentages if you look where the floor is $3. What's a good example? Brooklyn, buy for 5,900, sell for $3, but they don't tend to move much. I'm going to do a few UPX buys to flip for USD myself tonight. I might grab a couple of Dallases just to try those out. As I said, I did flip a few in Tokyo and they moved pretty quickly, but I'm still finding personally that San Francisco, nothing moves as fast as San Francisco, and probably LA as well. Although, the spread between the two prices there is kind of getting to the point where you think, do I really want to go there? So I'll have to wait and see. Now, I do have a bazillion tabs open tonight, so bear with me. We might take a while to reload and whatnot. Let's see if this next one will do. So this was just an ad for the podcast. Yeah, as I said, we're recorded live Wednesday nights from 7:30 p.m. AEST. Link to the Zoom drops 15 minutes prior in the Discord server. Make sure you check out how that works in with your schedule, as I said. Now, let me X out of these a bit. Save me computer attach. And let's go back here and see where we're at. So, yes, what's happening in Upland? Well, I think I'm still sharing there. Oh, and Lily's jumped in. Hey, Lil, I'm just rambling away to myself.
That's when you're at your best.
Yeah. All right. So, yes, we do have the Tokyo Shibuya collection reveals to come this week. Now, I noticed in Upex Land when I was playing around before, they have got all of the data listed as Tokyo. We do know that there's going to be other cities within the Tokyo city to come to be released. So I don't know. Might have to relabel all of those. Otherwise, it's going to get hella confusing. Have to wait and see. So let me just go back to that main announcement. Let's see if it'll play nice. So yes, Tokyo, we had the release, of course. I do believe it said when the collection reveal is going to drop. Tokyo Guide collection reveal, Thursday, August 24th at 9 a.m. PT, which is Friday, 2 a.m. my time, I believe. I was going to get up for this because I do have a balance there, and I did want to, play around, gobble a few more up as part of trying to boost my dividends. However, there's not much available. So, and with them saying that there's probably only going to be 5 collections, something like that, I think probably whatever's been bought has probably been bought. I'm definitely not going to ruin my sleep on a work night to try and find out. So I'll get up whenever I get up and have a bit of a looky around. But yeah, just as lots of people put videos out there, tips for collection reveals. Make sure if you do have properties in Shibuya, Tokyo that are currently listed for sale, and you wouldn't be really happy to sell them at the price you've got listed if it happened to be at an ultra rare, well, you might want to consider taking those down, or at least boosting your price up to something that you wouldn't lose sweat over, because that. I don't think it's ever happened to me, but I can't imagine being much fun to wake up and realize you flipped an ultra rare property for 1.5x or something. So might be something to watch out for. Let me X out of there. What else have we got up next? Oh, neighborhood ratings. Now, this was an interesting one. Let me pull this up because I want to dive into this a bit. Now, I think last week when we touched on this, neighborhood ratings, I believe Midtown Terrace was in the number 5 spot and Red Hook was in the number 6 spot. Midtown Terrace has taken a whopping jump straight to the number 2 spot. And it's not that far behind Hell's Kitchen. So how the hell is that possible? Well, through the week, I had 2 more MetaVentures approved and open. That was a FIFA legit store and an NFLPA legit store. So I've had to force myself to, get up to speed with those markets. I've got all of those listed now. And yeah, it just goes to show what a massive difference having those MetaVentures in your node or your neighborhood project, whatever it is, what it makes. I guess that goes a long way to explaining how some of the other ones who have already secured their neighborhood collection spawnings have been able to do so. Because yeah, there's not many places that are as built out as Midtown Terrace or as close to it, yet we were always fairly behind in the stats. And yeah, to jump that many places in one hit based on just 2 MetaVentures, that's where your real advantages lie, I think. So if you are a node project out there and you want to get yourself boosted up there, make sure you apply for them. I kind of should have done that ages ago, I suppose. Always just held out because those kind of markets weren't of full interest to me, but I started playing around. Why not? It seems like the whole process opened up a bit more. So we'll see how we go. I still think Hell's Kitchen has got August in the bag. What do we got? 7, 8 days, something like that left. I don't think they'll be able to be knocked off that spot. Midtown Terrace currently number 2. I expect Monero will have a huge push next month. Monero is a very well coordinated big team. A lot of people over there, a lot of things going on. So I expect that number to boost significantly. Not sure if we're going to have a play, pardon me, at Midtown Terrace or not yet. Don't know. We'll see how we go. Maybe if it's not September, it might be October, and that's my birthday, so that'll work out well. I have to wait and see. What have we done? We've done collection reveal. We're done neighborhood ratings. Dirk, old mate Dirk. He's out and about all over the place. So I haven't had a chance to catch up on this myself. Actually, it's only just kind of jumped on my radar. So this will be on my list for the Doing the Dishes podcast tomorrow night. So Dirk, co-founder of Upland, of course, has appeared on the Crypto News podcast talking about the state of the metaverse, super apps, and Web3 games. You can watch it on YouTube, of course. I would imagine it's available on Spotify. That's where I'll be looking to get it. But as I said, I haven't checked it out. So what do they talk about? Of course, in this conversation, it says they discuss in-game currencies and economies, Upland cafes, expanding to new cities, super apps, Web3 gaming, navigating the metaverse, importance of the community, Upland's partnerships with FIFA Women's World Cup. More on that later. State of the metaverse and why the future will and must be open. I don't know if you're still there, Lily. Did you get a chance to watch this, or have you heard any buzz about this? Any clangers dropped in it you're aware of?
I haven't heard of it. I come to you guys for news.
Yeah. Yes.
Until you or Goldie breaks it, I haven't seen it.
Well, I'd be surprised if Goldie didn't, because this has. When did this drop? It dropped to yesterday. So I'd be surprised if somebody hasn't devoured it. Goldie's usually pretty good at doing that, so I'll have to catch up on his podcast too. So,
we're more interested in the photos that were dropped on Twitter. So
yes, I've got
teaser
those lined up.
photos. Yeah,
cool. All right, well, I'll put this in my wash and dishes bank, and I guess I'll report back later. Have to wait and
I'll
see.
catch the news on what happened in it next week.
That'd be old news by then. Yeah, so the other kind of major news that came through for Upland through the week was, of course, there was an update to racing. Let me bring that up because that's a pretty cool picture there. So yeah, racing update, lane switching and boost and braking. So yes, this is something myself and a large section of the community have been wanting more kind of, gamification of the game, the racing game. So yeah, there are racing controls. You can switch lanes, which is good. You can play around with cornering, with apexes, hitting apexes. There's brakes, there's boost. It is far more entertaining rather than just sitting there watching the RNG carry on. I had to play around with it myself on web. It worked really good, even on my old janky laptop, although it did take quite a while for it to load. I tried on mobile and I couldn't get it to load, and then I realized, there's an update you got to do. So I updated. I haven't actually gone back through to play it on mobile, but I assume it's pretty straightforward. I'd just be interested to see how. I've only got a little iPhone. I wonder how big those buttons are. Probably wouldn't be too bad, I would imagine. It's not like although some of those tracks are pretty chaotic. So I think this is going to add a really unique element, I think, where some of those more complex tracks, you would assume that if you want to hit your apexes, you want to be on the outside coming up to a corner, and you want to, make sure you're always on that kind of side as you corner. But some of the switchovers between the right-hand corner and the left-hand corner, they come up pretty fast. So I played around with just some of the more wide-open tracks. So I think this is really going to play into the hands of people that have the time to practice, basically. Like we do know the URL has a series running now. I'm sure that Dak and Mass and the crew, there'll be some fiends getting into lots of practice activation. So yeah, the more you can practice there, probably I would assume it would work to your advantage. As I said, I played around with it with that one track. I forget where it was. It was kind of just a big rectangle almost, just to play around with it a bit. And I got to one point where I was trying to see how aggressive I could lane change. And I thought I did a 180 and was going the wrong way at some stage, but apparently I wasn't. I kind of freaked myself out there for a minute. So anyway, it was a bit of fun to shake the dust off the old S1R. So yeah, I'll definitely need to get around to playing with that on mobile and see how it goes there. So that's about all of the generally Upland news that I'm aware of. Anything else on your radar, Lily, apart from the Twitterish stuff?
No, I have heard there's been quite a few factory Metaventures opened this week. So obviously they're not producing anything yet, but the fact that they're online is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some more people out there manufacturing, lots more to come on, and there is a very interesting factory that's just popped up that I'll touch on in a second here. That kind of raised my eyebrows a bit. So yeah, its main topic tonight was I just wanted to touch on the all the stuff that's going on with the Stock Car Pro series. Like what have I got up first? So X1, I believe, he put out this video, this little short. Let me just bring it up. So is that going to play? That'll play. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but yeah, I'm sure you saw this if you're engaged.
Yeah, I saw this one.
Yeah, so he's saying how stock cars are being produced as we speak, yada, yada, yada. You know, we discussed this in the lead up to Tokyo, that we knew stock cars were going to be around the corner. Totem Protom's around the corner. There's all this stuff coming. What's going to be next? Throw a dart at the wall. Who really knows? So yeah, it goes back to the original introducing Stock Car Pro Series announcement that came through. I haven't really seen any other major details come through apart from this original article and, of course, that teaser that just went out. What have we got? Collection reveal this week. I wouldn't be surprised to see, although, no, actually, put a pin in it. I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised to see stock cars released early September, but there's some factors at play that might negate that. Let me just see if I can work my way towards that. So, you know, I'm an ex-racing car driver. That's where the number 68 comes from. So I was interested a little bit in this. You know, there's some extra Formula One IndyCar drivers in this. What's it all about? So I jumped over to the actual official website, stockcarproseries.com.br. And I thought, you know, I wonder if there's any news about Upland in here. So there is a news tab here that you can click on, and you know, it comes up with some news. And I thought, oh, I wonder what happens if I type Upland in there, and we click on the little search bar, and nothing.
Oh,
okay. So there's nothing on the official website. There is an NFT section here too. So I thought, oh, well, what do you know? NFTs. All right. While that's loading, I'll get rid of that and we'll go to this. So a bit more information about what the Stock Car series is. It started, this series started at 31st of March. And what are we at now? We're August. So we're about halfway through the season. And the season finishes December 15th, 17th. So yeah, we're halfway through the season. And I did as much clicketing as I could, you know, Stock Car Brazil, Upland. I tried every combination under the sun. I couldn't find any official kind of announcement, news article from the stock car company themselves, or whatever you want to call them. It may be a language thing. Perhaps if you search in Portuguese, if there's any Portuguese listeners out there, if you've come across something, I would love to see it, love to hear it. This NFT section that's there, it's just some other completely different Hall of Fame NFTs. They're like old school stock cars. Yeah, it's a little bit strange.
Equivalent of us looking for Brocky.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly, for that old school stuff. Yep. But it just seems strange to me that there's nothing whatsoever on that official website. So I'm hoping this isn't going to be another one of those one-sided partnerships. We've seen this with the NFLPA. It was kind of, I don't know. We did have some of those NFL players at that Genesis Week 2022. So that was cool, but I don't really remember seeing much else official come from that. Same with FIFA World Cup. Don't really see much official coming from that. Although it's interesting to note some of the stuff that's going on with the ladies' meta soccer, which there's a quips coming up that I'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, hoping that this isn't just some one-sided thing where Upland's just signed basically the contract to be able to use their IP and that sort of stuff. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, would love to see some news articles or some kind of cross promotion. Always gets you scratching your head when you can't find anything at all. So we'll have to wait and see. So yes, as I alluded to a bit earlier, is the whole Stock Car Pro thing, is that just a ruse? Is it have a look at this hand while the other hand's getting ready for something big? So the next most obvious thing, of course, would be Totem Protom. That's the only other thing I can think of. Is there anything else major that's on your radar, Lily? Something out of left field?
No, but they've been pretty good at surprising us with things that we didn't know were coming.
Yeah.
So there's always that thing that nobody knows anything about that's up their sleeve.
Yes, we'll have to wait and see on that one. So, there's a shout out to do there too. Let me bring that up because that's pretty cool. Where are you? Congratulations, Musita, on becoming a father. Well done, mate. And congratulations to wife and Bubba. Well done to you. So yes, what I think you were referring to before, Lily, is some of these things here that have been shared. Plus, there was that thing Uplando I saw. He took a screenshot of a background in one of X1's screenshots. That has to have been a deliberate setup, of course. Some code words on the wall and this, that, and the other thing. Here we've got looks like somebody squashed a caterpillar inside the folder. I don't know. That's the greening.
Yeah. So if you do look at it, it looks like palm trees and like plants with fronds, kind of ferny, kind of elephant ear plants kind of thing. But you got to go to both photos. The other photos are a little bit clearer.
Yeah, you got to squint your eyes, stick your tongue out to the left. This one there is
that one. Yeah, see, you can see at the bottom, it kind of looks like a mermaid. So if you go to where the mermaid's tail is, that's definitely a palm tree.
Yeah.
And the one up near the head, near the orange head, is definitely like an elephant ear kind of frondy tree.
Yes,
so.
That would definitely be my guess. That it's some, protum totem or stemmy kind of thing. Who knows? I think it'd be something in that vein, but who knows?
Goldie also said, "Oh, what if it means Tokyo expansion? Because that mountain in the background could be a volcano."
Yeah, well, I think the Tokyo expansion will come as soon as Upland can get the data sorted out for it. I reckon that'll happen as soon as they're ready for it. I reckon that'll come straight out because what have we got left? There was not much left. 1,000 properties, something like that. Not much, and they're all chumbawambas, big dollars or big Apex to buy them. So I probably should have checked that number out, but yeah, there wasn't. I think 55,000 or something was the unminted floor when I had a look a couple of days ago. So, yes, it'll be interesting to see if they go the FSA route, maybe a smaller city, but then it's Tokyo. So Tokyo and FSA don't really go hand in hand at all, do they? Unless they're going to release a completely different area altogether. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that stuff. Now, before we move away from the Stock Car Pro stuff, there was some extra stuff that popped up as well. Now, if you go on over to Upland, just got to give a shout out to upxland.me. Has been just such a valuable tool for so long. They got the Tokyo data up and ready to use, so easy to use. They got it done lickety split. So good on you fellas, Chris and all the team over there. So yeah, if you go over and search Stock Car Pro as the user, that is the official account. They have 3 properties. This bottom one is the factory, I believe. The next one's the showroom, and the next one is the actual racetrack. Now, I kind of balked before at maybe we got stock cars coming out for sale soon. They've only got 25. They've only got 25 Spark, which is enough to fill their large factory. So that it's not going to be producing cars in an awful hurry. Now, I did try to get all of these up and loaded, ready to go, so we could have a look, the factory, the showroom, and the racetrack. But my lappy just didn't want to know about it. So yeah, get on over there and check it out yourself. Stock Car Pro is the user, and you can see there wasn't many cars being manufactured at once, and it was taking quite a while to manufacture them, and there hadn't been many that had been manufactured. So yeah, there's still a ways out before they're going to come live, I think, unless they're going to get infused with a well, they can't have any more Spark because that's full. So they would need a secondary factory, got to build the factory. So yeah, that's all takes time. So I'll have to wait and see. But what was interesting of me in all of that, now hopefully this works. Here we go. This is the official Interlagos racetrack over there in Rio. Now, interesting that this is a different building structure for the speedways that we haven't seen yet before. The speedways that people are building now, I believe, is a red roof with 2 pit bays out the front. And was that was being marketed as a large speedway metaventure. So I don't know. This must be just a jumble-wumble one, as I said before. This may be a case where it's just a partners only or official racetracks or something like that, the extra big one. Midtown Terrace did apply for a speedway. As I think I mentioned last week, I don't believe that the one property we've got there, I don't believe it's going to be big enough for the speedway metaventure, the first building that came available. I think we're going to have to wait until the smaller one comes through. So have to wait and see. But yeah, this looks really cool. Pretty simple building, but it's pretty straightforward as well. So we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. And it is on the Interlagos racetrack, I believe, because it's got pit lane and everything written there. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, just something different kind of building structure there.
Now, can we get Bathurst?
Yeah. Well, it's funny how there's so many of the international drivers that you hear on different interviews and this, that, and the other thing. They say, where would you like to race that you haven't raced? 9 out of 10 of them will say Bathurst, or if they get asked on the flip side, what's the best track you've ever raced at? A lot of them do say Bathurst. So
yeah, well, I think there's more international drivers come over for Bathurst than there are local drivers to fill the cars. So yeah, a lot of them do come over and enjoy coming over, come back year after year.
Yeah, you been there for a race?
No, but I have driven around it. You can't go that way without driving around it.
Yeah, I've been to several. My grandparents live just like within 10, 15 minutes walking distance from the actual track. So I kind of grew up around there on school holidays and that the other thing. So I don't lost count of how many times I've walked around it. And I actually very nearly raced there too. I happened to sell my race car and headed off to university. And what do you know, the very next year, well, my series, they were racing at Bathurst. So I was pretty spewing about that.
Oh, they were in the pre-race lots.
Yeah, well, yeah, in the support series, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been fun, but never mind. Shit happens, as they say. All right, so keep your eyes and ears out for that. As we said, don't try not to go and blow all your UPX in Tokyo. What did you end up down to? You said last week 50 UPX or something.
800, yeah.
800. Ouch. So yeah, with all of these new things coming up, I don't know. Is that something that's going to interest you if the Stock Car Pro series was released in a week or two?
Yeah, I think I could get into it. I used to really like motor racing. Like when I was younger, I used to follow it.
Yep.
Of course, then you have kids and work gets really busy and you just don't have time to follow anything anymore. But I used to be right into it.
Yeah, I was the same, of course, when I raced. And then when I headed off to Japan, I kind of lost interest in all sort of sports because you just lose contact with it, basically. So I've since got back home and got settled and started to get back into it. Yeah, have to wait and see. Something else I was going to mention about stock cars as well. I forget. Maybe it'll come to me. It'll come to me at 3 a.m. I'll go, shit, that's what I was going to say. All right, let's have a look at what else is happening in the wider Web3 sector. Now, I just pulled up a couple of interesting articles. This first one it's a doozy. So China, which we know is all over the metaverse with the billions and billions that, Beijing is putting into the metaverse, even just obscure cities that I'd never heard of. Some of the articles I've covered there previously where they're investing $5 billion in the metaverse and this sort of stuff. Well, now they're going to extend on their social credit score system and tie that together with the metaverse to create permanent, unique IDs for everyone. So this has been hinted about, talked about, but here we are. It is happening. So China thinks it's real world.
So scary.
Well, it all goes to like cashless society, and like you would know, being Australian, like we're rapidly moving towards that as well. Like I think, what did I get? Commonwealth Bank recently put a thing through where you can only invest so much in crypto at one time and now, and all this, that, the other thing. You go into the bank and try and withdraw, $1,000. You almost have to order your money ahead before you go in there. If you go and
You
try and
do.
drop off
You have,
1,000, it's a hassle.
yeah. You have to order your money in advance. You have to give them like 3 days notice that
Yeah,
you need so much cash to go and do that.
yeah, it's bizarre. And it's one of those things. Like the tinfoil hatters will say, well, yeah, that means that anybody, like the government, can turn around and say, oh, you've been a naughty boy, you can't access your account, but it's already there. Like all of the all of the banking is done online. If I get cash for anything, so I just give it to Maya to buy shopping with, because it's just a pain in the ass. I never go to the bank. So,
No, you just carry your phone with you everywhere now. You don't even need your license. You just take your phone.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, people will point at that and say, "Oh, it's scary, scary," but I feel it's just an evolution of where things are going. Like it wasn't that long ago. I remember when I was buying things online, might have been, when did I go? It might have been late 90s or something like that, buying things online with a credit card, and my mum freaking out like, oh, you're going to get ripped off, you're going to lose all your money. And now you just don't even think, now you just tap and go. So
Yeah, I'm just more worried about where it's happening. That's
yeah,
in the headlines saying easily punishable. Well, I can see that.
yeah,
Um,
for them to go straight for that as the kind of, you know, the headline.
yeah,
Maybe this is just old mate's take on it. Old mate Matthew Humphreys. So yeah, every person will be uniquely identifiable and therefore easy to punish for bad behavior. I think with the amount of Big Brother surveillance that's going on, obviously here in Australia, it's nowhere near what it's like over there with the amount of surveillance, but it is. I mean, it's pretty hard to go anywhere where you're not being monitored by cameras. I know even in my very quiet residential suburban street, if I was to walk up and down the street, either side of the street, I'd be tripping everybody's security cameras, including my own. So I don't know.
yeah, that's very true. And especially like how in the news, all our major shopping and that is now doing facial recognition.
Yep.
So when you go to the store, you're on facial recognition. Um, but that's happened here too. Like with our cameras, we you could track someone walking up and down the street very easily.
And they do it. There's those shows. I don't know what that show is, Hunted or something now, where they release a certain amount of people and they try and run away and hide from everybody. It's like a TV show. So yes, so China thinks its real-world social credit system, where every person has a unique ID that's easy to track and share with law enforcement, would work well for all online worlds and metaverses. It makes sense. A proposal of a digital identity system, for anyone using a virtual online world or metaverse has been drafted by state-owned telecom company China Mobile and reviewed by Politico. The proposal suggests creating a unique digital ID for every person that includes a range of identifiable signs, natural characteristics, social characteristics, and personal details. I mean, we're kind of already seeing the early formation of this in Upland with, you've got your 3D avatar, you've got your wearables. I don't think it's going to be that far down the road where you're going to have different stats and things.
I
Whether
have an
it's,
issue
yep.
with it though for virtual worlds and things. People
Mm-hmm.
go in there to become something that they're not game to put out in real life.
That's a good
So they
point.
go in there to hide their identity so they can be who they actually are. And it's not a dangerous personality, it's just something they're afraid to do in real life. Now, if you do this too much, people are going to live their whole lives hiding from the world. They'll
Mm.
have nowhere to go and be themselves.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like it's, these kind of, well, it's almost marketed like that in some aspects. Like if you're an introvert, well, you can get on this, be whatever you want to be whoever you want to be. But yeah, you're right. This would just
And
completely negate all that.
people have used it for like therapy, like, they act out in ways that they can't do in real life because they feel it will, detriment their world if they do that. But it's not that they're bad people or they're doing anything bad. It's just that, they feel uncomfortable being who they really are in real life.
Mm.
Um, And yes, it's becoming more acceptable to be who you are in real life, but that doesn't mean that applies to everybody.
No, it's a good point. Like it's that whole Friday night, kick your heels off, go and let loose in one of these kind of worlds. Express yourself. As you said, how you wouldn't potentially want your co-workers or your boss or somebody to know what you're doing. It doesn't have to be nefarious or stupid, sexy stuff or anything like that. It's just it could be just about engaging in different social groups or whatnot. Who knows?
Yeah.
Add that to politics and it could get very, very, very messy quickly. So who knows?
Yeah.
So it goes on to say the ID would be stored permanently and shared with law enforcement to allow for swift action to be taken when bad behavior occurs within these virtual worlds. So play up too much and knock, 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 or bang, crash down your door. Interesting how they're going to police that. China Mobile includes an example in the proposal of how a user named Tom could be promptly identified and punished after he spreads rumors and makes chaos in the metaverse. Yeah, well, spread rumors. Who says, some person's rumor is another person's truth? So, as I said, with China, that's where it gets a bit tricky.
Lots of things that started as rumors turned out to be proven.
Yes, lots and lots. Yep, absolutely. People that sounded like absolute crackpots not that long ago, well, now they're being proven absolutely right. Yeah, that's a good point as well. So, yes, and having the government to control that, that gets a bit scary. But would you want the government to control that, or would you rather big companies like Facebook and Meta and that sort of stuff? Is it better the devil you know, or I don't know?
I guess it's better the devil you know because those other people are selling it to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. And
they're making money from that information, whereas the government is just trying to keep you in line.
From your data. And, the classic steelman case is like, look, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you got nothing to worry about.
You don't have to be doing anything wrong to want to hide things.
Yeah. And as with anything governmental like this, once they crack the seal with this, they just keep tweaking it to however they want it. So where you end up is probably not what you signed up for. A classic case for me would be the HEX Help Student Debt Loan. Like with the contracts I signed for that way back in the day, well, they've just re-indexed all the things, and guess what? This year you owe us $5,000. Oh, awesome! Thank you.
Yeah. So, and plus, they removed all those benefits from the tax this year. So
yes, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, what does it say here? That's what I was going to say too. I remember I got involved in an Australian crypto. Well, at least the guys running it were Australian crypto project, 2018. And then it was a nice, I forget the name of it, but it was like a thing for voting where, your ID was going to be secured on the blockchain for voting and this, and that thing. I believe it ended up fizzling and dying, but that was kind of some of the early stages of that as well. I wish I could remember the name because it sounded like a really good project. Especially because we've got what do we got to vote on the yes, no coming up?
Yes.
It'd be nice to just
go. Have you made your decision about that?
You know what? It's such a tricky one.
I don't need to know the answer, but had you made your decision? Yeah.
Well, it seemed like a no-brainer. I'd made my decision, but then the more you hear people, Indigenous First Nations people talking about it, you think, I really don't know. So I think I'm going to, on the day, I'll probably go to, I would assume they're going to have people there from both camps, and I'll just go and, for once in my life, I'll actually go and talk to them and, see what they have to say and how that's going to, I'm not going to try and think too big picture. I'm just going to think locally. I don't know.
I put it down to, are you a person who's willing to compromise and take small steps and hopefully get where you want to go in the end? Or are you the person who stands your ground and says all or nothing? That's what I'm thinking. I'm okay with small steps because I think you get where you want to go faster.
Eventually. Yeah. I don't know. If you don't know what we're talking about, well, it's an Australian thing happening on, and it is the Upland Down Under podcast, so up yours. Right.
But
Next
yeah,
up.
it's a very hard decision because it will make a really big dent in the country. So
And it's been a long time coming. So, yeah, it's a
it's
tricky
so
one.
overdue.
Yeah.
It's very overdue.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. This next one made me giggle. Our Bored Ape Yacht Club investors bored of its plunging value. Paris Hilton, Adidas, and others sued. So this is a funny one. So, do you remember the days of NFTs being all over the internet, presented as the next big thing in tech and finance, riding on the hype wave that cryptos generated at the time? NFTs made big promises for both the wealthy and not so wealthy, giving them direct ownership of non-fungible items, blah, 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 blah. As a result, digital artists went all out with wacky creations for NFTs, and one such collection was the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So, created by Yuga Labs, the Bored Ape Yacht Club consisted of a series of cartoon figures. Oh man, look at this ads I'm getting now that I've talked about it. Wow. Generated by computer algorithms, with each one of them holding a pretty high value. While the collection of these bored apes wasn't as interesting, a lot of media hype was generated by the likes of Justin Bieber and Paris Hilton and others spending multi-millions to buy these things. With promising market forecasts, the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection found its desired number of investors. Yeah. Fast forward to 2023, and all those investors, that's a big call to say all of those investors, but anyway, have now sued Yuga Labs as well as its promoters for misleading them into buying something that's losing its value. Come on, wake up to yourself.
That's silly. I never got it myself. I'm never going to get it. But you can't blame someone else for what you spend your money on.
Absolutely. That's if you're somebody who FOMO'd into this thinking you were off to the moon and it was never going to go down, like, welcome to crypto. That's just crazy. Yeah, that's just mental. So so I'm sure everybody knows what the Bored Ape Yacht Club is. So what are they actually? So what have we got here? Out of the 10,000 NFTs, 100 were auctioned by Sotheby's to a single buyer in April 2021 at a price of over 24 million. Wow. Yeah, all right. So there was multiple sales in multiple millions. So why did the Bored Ape Yacht Club investors go to court? Once the sale was made, the Bored Ape Yacht Club started losing its value in price over time with no improvement visible. Investors sued Sotheby's and the other 29 firms associated with the promotion of the NFT for misleading buyers. It would be very interesting to see what Sotheby's actually said in their marketing material for that. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they were dumb and, lawyers like to lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it only takes a word here or there that and the lawyers will be all over it. So,
yeah, if any kind of promise was made, then okay. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you chose to buy it. So
yes. So what does it say? The auction house misleadingly ramped up the hype and interest in the collection. Well, duh, it's an auction house. That's their job.
If they sell a chair, they're still going to hype the chair.
That's their job.
Yeah.
Far out. In reality, the value of these NFTs was much lower than what was advertised at the time. Well, says who? Somebody was willing to pay that. It is also said that sale of the 100 NFTs to a single buyer for 24 million was a deceptive tactic undertaken to drive up prices. So that's kind of, they're insinuating there that they've almost created a false floor.
But did that have anything to do with it? I mean, you'd have to prove that.
Yeah, which would be very hard to do unless, like I said, they've messed up in their wording of their official documentation that they put out. Yeah. The plaintiffs also added that the traditional collector tag had misled the audience into assuming that the market for the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs had crossed over to a mainstream audience. Well, that's just mental. There's no way NFTs are even close to mainstream adoption.
It's going to be another decade before that happens, at least.
Yeah, and as I keep banging on about, I think mainstream is going to come. The mainstream adoption and use of NFTs is going to come kind of like Upland, where people are doing it and they don't even know it's an NFT. It's going to be boring, bloody bureaucracy stuff like your driver's license. And part of me, go to Coles and you buy a thing and you get your NFT that says you got a discount on the next purchase. And yeah, it's these kind of pumpy dumpy hype machine things, I don't think that's where mainstream's going to come, because, you know, look how long crypto's been around, and that's still very much based on hype cycles. So I don't know.
And a lot of people don't even know what it is. So, you know, same as NFTs, probably half these people who bought them didn't even really understand what they were. It was just
Yes.
the in thing to buy, and so they bought one.
Do your own research, as they say. Yeah. So, in response to the lawsuit, Yuga Labs has referred to these allegations as being, in quotes, without merit, they said in a statement. In quotes, as a media and technology company, Yuga Labs has empowered strong communities of enthusiasts and entrepreneurs to innovate, connect, and build. Their creativity has fostered community-driven projects that have captured the imagination of people around the world. That's the story worth telling. End quote. Meanwhile, Sotheby's has also called out these allegations as being baseless and is ready to fight them in court, while the lawyers rub their hands together with glee.
Yep, they're getting paid.
No matter what happens. So, yes. Has this affected the price of Bored Ape Yacht Club? The Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs continue to observe a drop in their value on NFT platforms like OpenSea and CoinGecko. A single colourful illustration of an ape from the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection can now be bought at a price as low as 24.5 Ethereum, which roughly translate to US 40 grand. As low as.
Yeah, that's low. That's real low.
I mean, we're in a bear market. I touched on this at the start of the show. The crypto smashed and could very easily take another big dive down. So, I mean, it's kind of funny to me. Have to wait and see. All right. It just goes back to nothing that you see and do around the place should be considered as financial advice. Do your own research, all of that sort of stuff. What's this? This isn't the ad that I had. Goldman Sachs. I don't know what that is. Let me check my notes. Dubs. No, that must have just been some pop-up. All right, let me jump out of there. We'll close that one. Now, I am not a gamer by any stretch of the imagination. However, this one, well, that was supposed to be a Dubs article, but this one did pop up to me. Now, Dubs is apparently some kind of new Web3 play to earn sort of thing. That I'm not going to try and pull that link up again that I just closed. Link will be in the description. But anyhow, this is the one that I was going to get to anyway, because this is the actual platform. So this is Dubs, DUBBZ.com. Challenge, compete, profit. Take your game to the next level. Monetize your skills and creations in the realm of competitive play. So in the background, we've got some just kind of neon metaversey, old school arcade, it looks like.
Is this a bet on yourself kind of thing?
Well, I wasn't sure, and I thought, oh, here we go. It's going to be some other new bloody game coming out. But it's got here, find a match, use our matchmaking system, play a tournament or challenge a friend, play together, play your favorite game against your opponent, play your favorite game against your opponent, win crypto. Entry fees powered by crypto fuel a prize pool, win games to win crypto. Okay, so play your favorite game. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, you scroll down and it's got a list of a whole bunch of games here. That's Fortnite, isn't it?
I don't know. Do they have Pac-Man, Frogger, and Galaga?
I don't know. FIFA 23, see, like this NBA 2K. Yeah, I think these are like established. That's Call of Duty, Warzone, Rocket League. So I think these are mainstream games, and somehow they're combining it. Street Fighter 5, League of Legends, Hearthstone. Yeah, Fortnite. These are massive games. So there is somehow, it would appear that there's some way to connect through this app, and you're going to wager within the outcome of yourself in that game. It's very interesting.
I see Space Invaders.
You do? Yeah, Flappy Chicken. There you go. Look. The Space Alien Invaders. Yeah. So, as I said, I'm not a gamer, but this is actually one that I'm going to check out on the back end. Develop, monetize, engage. Unlock next level monetization for your skill-based games through competitive play. Leverage our developer tools to amplify your earnings. So, well, this is interesting. No wallet required. Dubs attracts away the blockchain layer. Users can play Web3 games without complex wallet startup. That's good. Pay with fiat. We will wager on your behalf on the Polygon network. Web 2 games can unlock the power of Web 3, blah, blah, blah. Dub runs on USDC, no volatility, which is a stablecoin, no volatility or complicated token barriers to entry. Interesting. So, yeah, it seems like this is
running on Polygon.
Yeah. Seems like it's a fairly new thing. So, yeah, this is one I'm going to definitely check out. So, if you're an old school gamer or a new school gamer, it looks like there might be something there for everybody. You couldn't have...
basic tile games, I'm in. If it's all this shooty stuff, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely. But you wouldn't think they'd be able to use any of this imagery if they didn't have some sort of, right to do so. Otherwise, speaking of getting sued.
Yeah, no, they'd have to have, the rights to do so.
Yeah, you would assume. So, I don't know. Check that one out if it interests you. All right, where are we up to? That's all I wanted to cover there. Dubs, yes. All right, so now last week we did what's making in real life news, which I like to call doses of reality from the meat suitiverse. We've got the metaverse. Well, what's reality? That's the meat suitiverse. So let's just do a quick dive in. This is about the only news coverage I actually watch. I don't watch the news anymore. So what do we got happening in Australia? Teens charged over Sydney Inferno. Well, that's down towards your way.
Oh, that was horrific. That was.
Oh, was that the one that was a while ago?
Yeah, it was a couple of months ago in Surrey Hills. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's no good. What else have we got? Landlord boomers' guilt over housing crisis. Aussie boomers have revealed how they really feel about millennials struggling to buy a home, with one landlord making a surprise admission. Yeah, you should feel guilty. Lucky we got in the housing market when we did. If we had been another 3 months, and we would have been absolutely screwed. So
I live in a shack, so.
Live in a shack, yes.
I do.
But
I call it my shack.
Is that your shack?
Yes, it's my shack.
Nice. Yeah. I'd hate to be trying to pay rent around my area. Like I said, I live in a kind of quiet residentially area that's nowhere near the glitz and the glamour and the madness of the Gold Coast, but it's the rent around here is astronomical. I can only begin to imagine what it's like down your way.
Yeah, it's probably on par with what you've got for like nice high rise there.
I don't know about horrors, but a typical, a standard 3-bedroom house, I think's pushing $750 a week, something like that.
Oh yeah, you could get a really low rent, 3-bedroom house for $750 a week around here.
Yeah,
wouldn't be a nice house.
No, it wouldn't, by no stretch of the imagination. Yeah. What else have we got? Man dragged from car inferno on a main real road, and why low budget love story rivals Oppenheimer as his best. Oh, boo. I don't want to know about it. All right, moving on. What's happening in Kiwi land? Ski field operator convicted over a bush crash that killed 11-year-old girl. Ooh, that's no fun. Swimming in Auckland. Almost all the rivers have enough E. coli to make you sick. If you had 9 mates head for a swim in one of Auckland's rivers, it's likely at least one of you will get sick.
No.
Auckland, almost all rivers. I always had the impression of New Zealand being clean and pristine, but I suppose Auckland is a big city. I suppose any river in a big city is going to be gross, isn't it?
Well, not if you're taking care of it.
No. Auckland school in lockdown after sudden death of an adult. Oh, that's no good. Todd Muller, the man who could have been Prime Minister, bows out, and he was a staunch man. Tributes pour in for Dan Mihaka. Oh, that's not very good news. What Meat Suitiverse news is always bad.
Yeah.
All right, maybe Japan can turn it around like they did last week. What's happening in Japan? Nope, more doom and gloom. Japan begins final preparations for Fukushima water release. Water release finds little support in Fukushima. Japanese restaurant owners in Hong Kong brace for Fukushima seafood ban. That one's tricky.
Yeah, why are they doing this?
I think it's a case of they have to. There's that much stored water over there, and it's, we moved back to Japan just before that massive earthquake. Like the business that we were opening, the earthquake kicked in like just before we opened for business. described what that was like. We were nowhere near the epicenter, but it just felt like somebody picked up our house and just pushed it to the side 3 or 4 times. It was huge, even where we were. I think, have you watched the Netflix series all about it? That was incredible, that series. I was amazed that they actually did it. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I tend to avoid things that are really, really depressing, that are going to depress me. I like my TV entertainment factor.
Yes. Oh, and I just see. Sorry, Zoe, I didn't realize you were in chat, mate. Welcome aboard. So yeah, it was depressing, but it kind of really got to the crux of what it was. There was no holds barred, but I had a lot of friends in the area. I had a whole bunch of expat friends who, as soon as it happened, they bailed. They went back to the UK, America, all over the place. I did have some American friends. Funnily enough, was ex-military guys who they pretty much packed up their van full of supplies and just started doing runs up and back. You know, they were almost killing themselves helping out. And it was, funnily enough, it was a lot of Yakuza was organizing the logistics of it all. A lot of people don't know that the Yakuza have a very long history of, they're involved in a lot of construction projects with a lot of dodgy stuff and this, that, and the other thing, of course, but they also do a lot of good in the community. And believe it or not, they do have a fairly good reputation around certain parts, especially in times of crisis like that. So, yeah.
Oh, not everybody's all bad.
No, that's right. And I lived a couple of doors down. One apartment I lived in was a Yakuza compound with stainless steel gates and security cameras. And the local shop, I used to see the big, he must have been an ex-sumo wrestler, big, massive henchman guy. He'd be in there with the mistresses walking her little chihuahuas in pink tutus and stuff. It was hilarious. It was like straight out of a movie. I used to say hello to him all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, like Aussie Bikies, Zoe said in chat. So, yeah, it's one of the scariest things for me at the time living there while it was all happening. Is, first of all, you didn't know what was going to happen as far as the spread of stuff. But one of the greasiest things was, especially when like they're talking about seafood stocks and this, that, and the other thing. If you get in your boat and you go up to Fukushima and you catch a whole bunch of fish there and you come back to Tokyo and you land those fish at Tokyo Market. Now, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe those are classified as Tokyo fish. These fish come from Tokyo. So that's where it gets a bit tricky.
Oh, can't you monitor that? Are they like any kind of radioactive signal coming from those fish or anything?
Your regular man on the street is not going to do that, and you're just going to go along with whatever the government says. I've talked ad nauseum how Japan's a fantastic place to visit on a holiday. You live there and deal with the bureaucracy and the bullshit that their government spins, and that's a completely different ballgame. So, yeah, they tell you one thing out the side of their mouth, and they mean a whole different other thing. And that documentary, well, that it's not a documentary; it is a drama series. Is a prime example of that. Like, nobody wants to take responsibility for anything because the management's all like senior hierarchical, you know. Nobody takes responsibility for everything. Everybody passes the buck. So it's surprising that the country runs so well because the amount of shady shit that goes on is kind of funny. But yes, I think they're just in a case where they have to do something because they just literally flooded with radioactive water. You can only store it on land for so long, and then all of the places and ways that they're storing it, that's all leaking into the ocean anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not good. All right, I'll stop gas bagging on about that. Meat service done. Now, a couple of quips this week. I thank you to everybody who had put through a quip submission. I'll just show that. So we do have a new quips form. If you weren't aware, quip stands for questions. What is it? I don't remember now. Questions, inspirations, provocations, insights, provocations, or statements that we could dive into. All you have to do is click the link in the description, come on over here and clickety-clack, press enter. And that's it. And if yours gets used, you get yourself some kind of prize. For the moment, for the time being, it's just 5,000 UPX, and we got 2 this week. So the first one is from Cernes4, who asks, with the Women's World Cup soccer over, what can Upland do to help FIFA legits retain value until the Men's World Cup in 2026? Interesting question. Now, I talked about this before, how I raised my concerns about how the Stock Car Pro Series, is that going to be a one-side partnership again where Upland sells all this stuff and we have racing and this, that, and the other thing, but there's nothing being done on the promotional side? I don't know. That definitely has played out on the FIFA side of things. Do you know, has there been ever any change in the ladies' meta soccer? I believe last I heard it was tied up in needing to be approved by FIFA official before that could be released.
Yeah, last I heard from Blue, that was the word. It's just tied up in paperwork at the moment.
That seems like a nightmare. Like all of the work they put in, all of the stuff. I know Shackleton worked like a beast to get all of the partnerships with all the various neighborhood nodes and get all the properties built in there and get the purple tags and get it all assigned. You're ready to go. Let's go. Oh, hang on a minute. We got to do paperwork now. That's got to be immensely frustrating.
Yeah.
So hopefully that comes to fruition. If it doesn't, that doesn't spell good things. Going back to the original question, what can Upland do? Well, I think Upland could do a lot. There has been, there was some kind of kerfuffle too, where some of these collections, as part of the competitions that were going, the collections couldn't be filled because certain packs hadn't been released or certain cards weren't available.
Yes, so it's the passes. So you buy those passes,
Yep.
and then of course you get it at the end. But if they were released while the competition was still going, people would be able to trade them to complete collections. So there's all those past collections that can't be filled.
Yeah, it just always seems that so many of these things are always reactionary. Like, it's fair enough to put, MVPs, minimal viable products out there, but then you're constantly chasing your tail. So,
Yeah, I mean, you understand it with the spotlights. The spotlights can't come until, they're released, and that's got nothing to do with Upland. They can't do anything about that. But for the passes, where you're going to get other stuff, it's a little bit scratch your head, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So
what are they thinking?
Yeah, I mean, even just having ladies meta soccer, having that out and available, that's a whole thing where you wager your legits as part of that. Having that up and running and available, that would help keep things kicking along. It just seems bizarre that that the roadblock has come after everything else is established, ready to go. Like it just when because they won the Genesis Week thing, wasn't it? That was the winning submission.
Yes, and they were ready to go the day after it.
Yeah,
it started. The competition started. If you counted US time, then they thought they were ready on the day, but it actually started the day before in our time. So
yeah. So clearly, a lot of conversations would have been had with Upland directly leading up to that and immediately after. Yeah, to think that they've waited to this later stage, then do everything they need to do to actually release it. Yeah, that's not cool. So
no, but I mean, where is the holdup? I doubt that it's directly with Upland.
No, it wouldn't be. It'd be probably on old mate FIFA's desk gathering dust.
Yeah, not important to them.
Yeah, because again, it seems very much a one-sided partnership. So yeah, I don't know. So hopefully they get that sorted out. As far as other ways to keep things moving along with legits, I still would like to see some kind of UpX boost for filling those collections. I think there needs to be some kind of dividendish UpX kickback for building a property, for having the legit collections and this, that, and the other thing. I personally don't like that they just palm so much of the stuff off to layer 2. Layer 2. So yeah, let's get some more layer 1 action. So if ladies meta soccer can't be released for whatever for whatever reason with the FIFA stuff, well, is there a way that they can rejig it so it can be, it doesn't have to be affiliated with FIFA? Surely it can be. I don't know. But then they are FIFA legits that are being wagered. So I don't know. Tricky. I don't know. Any ideas? How can we keep FIFA legits alive?
No idea. I bought them because I wanted them. So
Yes.
they're not going anywhere. They're staying in my account.
Yeah, I when I set my MetaVenture up, I did it last night actually. I was going through like some of the just random ones, like I don't know, just pulling out my ass, Ghana boots or something. I was like, oh yeah, I'll sell that for $1. Aussie boots, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to let those go for at least $5. So, and I actually had 3 sales come before, and I was like, hang on, wait a minute, did I sell those too cheaply? So I don't believe it was Aussie stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I've my Aussie stuff is my pride. I'm not getting rid of that. And I do have some doubles of the men's and a couple of doubles of the women's, but I did go to list them. But certain MetaVenture I went to list them with had offers turned off, and so I kind
Oh
of
no.
put my list aside and haven't got back to it yet. But there was only like a dozen on there that I could list because I need one of everything. It's just me. I need one of everything.
You're a collector, hardcore collector.
Yeah, I don't go for the expensive ones. I just all the low rent ones.
Yep.
They're the ones that I collect because I can afford those and I can afford to keep them, whereas I don't go into the big money ones.
Are you still based in Oakland? Is that your home base?
No, it's always been San Fran, but I hang out in Oakland more than anywhere else until, all the treasure hunting changed. I still love going
That's
back
what it
to
was.
Oakland though.
You'd zap over for the spark hunts, wasn't it?
I'd hunt there every day,
Yeah.
but I don't anymore
Okay.
because obviously it's turned off there most of the time. But yeah.
Oh, well, if you got some more legits to list, Midtown, what do I call it? Midtown Legits in Midtown Terrace is available for your listings.
At the moment, I'm hunting in Bakersfield, and I just found an FSA a couple of hours ago that's for sale. So I put that in the new players chat. So hopefully somebody will go nab that.
That's actually a good segue to our next quips. So that was from Cerness. Just to finish up on that, I would say, what can Upland do to help FIFA Legits retain value? Well, it goes back to that F word, functionality. Layer 1 functionality, if possible. Layer 2 is great and all, but let's get some layer 1 functionality in there as well. So next one, Angry Ursia states Upland has released over 200 FSA properties in Chicago recently. For months, Chicago rarely had more than 5 to 10 FSA unlocked at a time. And then Angry asks, is this happening in other cities? Is Upland trying to improve the FSA market? According to Angry, some of these properties in the FSA price range have not been tagged FSA and are available to all for minting. So you just said you spotted an FSA one?
Yeah, I was doing a hunt and it's right next to one of my properties.
Yes.
So I couldn't miss it. It lit up bright green when I landed. And I went, oh, and I clicked on that instead of my hunt because, it's Bakersfield. There's no rush. There's nobody else hunting.
Yes.
Clicked on that and saw what it was, screenshotted that, posted that, and then continued on to pick up the treasure.
Good on you. So, yes, apparently there's plenty of them being released too that, by going by the mint price, they should be FSA, but they're not. So, according to Angry, says, which as of writing include 247 of these in Chicago, 133 in Rio, 99 in Bakersfield, there you go, 99 in Cleveland, 63 in NOLA, 19 in Porto, 3 in Nashville, and 1 in the Bronx. Interesting. So it seems like they are chugging these locked properties. What do they call them? Phantom properties or something? They use some Fandango word for them. Ghost properties?
Well, most of them are when visitors don't renew.
Yeah, and they get recycled through.
They get recycled back on the market.
Now you got to be careful with these. I got myself screwed up here in San Francisco in my whole buy for UPX and flip for USD. Some of these properties that go through that cycle, they max out and they go back to FSA the FSA owner buys them and then sells them for UPX. I've bought some of those, not kind of paying close enough attention. They've just been listed at the floor. I've bought it, and then normally I need to wait 3 days to sell for USD. I waited the 3 days, and then it's like, you have to hold this for 5 months.
Yeah, so what's happened is the FSA hasn't unlocked off of it.
Yeah.
So I've got quite a few FSA that I bought when I first started that still say FSA, and it's more than 12 months, so I can sell them now. But some of them I bought secondhand, and I know that I bought them secondhand, and they still say FSA. And the 12 months on that, I still had to wait that. I mean, I don't sell anything, so it's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
But I do know there was a lot of them that never unlocked when I bought them.
Yeah, it's definitely a trap because, like I said, if you're somebody like myself that's buying it specifically for the purpose of flipping it for USD, it kind of screws you up. I ended up selling them at a loss for UPX just to get them out of my hands. It's like hot potato.
Yeah, you could have posted the addresses in, tech bugs, and you could have got them released. But if you're in a hurry, what's the point?
Got to pay them bills. Yes. So, yeah. So thank you for that, Angry. So if you are, especially if you've got I would imagine if you've got a node project in one of those areas, and if these are popping up willy-nilly every now and then, it'd be something to keep your eye out on for sure. Get yourself some cheap property. Thank you.
Just over a year ago, they did that. They released FSA everywhere.
Yep.
And that's when my hubby joined in.
Nice.
And so he bought FSA in Staten Island, basically everywhere, pretty much. Fresno. The only place he didn't get any San Francisco. There was no San Francisco unlocked. He got Oakland. He got Brooklyn. He got everywhere. Chicago, everything. He just flew around and got bits and pieces of FSA everywhere.
Cleaned up.
Yep.
And I see in chat, Joey said it would be good if Upland Bureau bought the jailed players' properties to keep them active in the game. That's interesting. Or the people that nuked their account. It'd be nice if they didn't get nuked and screw up the floors. Yeah, that's a good point. But then there's so many people that get jailed without an explanation, so I guess that could get pretty greasy too. There'd have to be some kind of holding period, of course, I would imagine.
And 1 year.
Yeah, that's
just to make sure.
That's a fair enough time period for sure. All right, thank you, Sir Ness and Angriosia, for that. You've both got yourselves 5,000 UPX each. I'll send that through probably late tonight or tomorrow morning. All right, speaking of giveaways, last week we had a challenge in the show was to get yourself on over to the NBA server and tell us how you went in the Tokyo City release. The prize is going to be 5,000 UPX clear after fees. No need to run a wheel this week because there was only one entry. Congratulations, Kevin Loader, on probably the easiest 5,000 UPX you've ever earned yourself. According to Kevin, his Tokyo release experience lasted all of 1.5 minutes as he was sitting in a work meeting during the open and was able to spend his 467K budget on 4 properties before he had to hide his phone and give the appearance of caring what was going on in the meeting. Good on you, mate. And thank you for putting the effort in to put an entry in. 5,000 UPX on the way for you. This week's challenge in the contest channel in the NBA server again. Let us know what you think about the upcoming stock cars release. What do you think the base prices on the first batch will be? As I said, there doesn't appear to be many of them being manufactured very quickly. I would expect this is going to be a limited first release and prices will be knock your socks off. Probably $1 million plus if I had to guess. What do you think? Astronomical, says Zoe.
Huge. Out of my reach.
Yeah. And I have actually had a chat with somebody posted something on Twitter and I mentioned, the price, I think it was Green Turtle. Green Turtle said the price. And I'm like, well, the price is only one aspect. If it's going to be this whole, you got to register for it and you got to go in the lottery and all of that sort of stuff. That's still a multi-accounters paradise, that thing. So even if you do have the budget sitting there burning a hole in your pocket, I think because of the limited nature of it, it's going to be probably all secondary. I have to wait and see. Might get lucky. Who knows? No one thing's for sure. I won't be FOMOing into it. I would love to get one of them because they do look amazing. But there's always something else to spend your UPEX on. Protum, totem, stems. Who knows? Who knows what's on the way? But yeah, I think Zoe's right. Astronomical would be my guess. So yes. What do you think? Let us know in the NBA server, in the contest channel. Again, 5,000 UPEX, clear after fees for the prize. Now, only the two of you in chat. This is going to be a pretty sad old wheel, this one, but I will thank you both for jumping in rather than me just rambling on to myself. Let's see. There's going to be another 5,000 UPEX. Lily, Zoe, Lily, Zoe, Lily, Zoe, Lily, Zoe. Who's going to get it? Zoe.
Yay!
Congrats, Zoe Zoe. 5,000 UPEX on the way for you too. You missed
Thank you
half.
very
Well,
much.
you got to the most important half. You got your name on the wheel for it. So yes, that's all I had to touch on today. Is there anything you ladies would like to discuss, bring up? All good? All good in the
Who
hood?
feels that the ladies' soccer got a little bit screwed?
Oh, I don't think they got a little bit screwed. I think they got very royally screwed, as I said. Especially the amount of work that that was put in. Even just going back to the presentation, like I know Shaq was sick to his stomach, like nervous leading up to that, and then she just nailed it on the day, clearly because she kicked it out of the park and won it. To go through all of that work, certainly minded, all the development that went on for the game. It is a very simplified game, but still, there's a lot of work in doing anything like that. Yeah, a little bit screwed.
Yeah.
I think very much screwed. But is that Upland's fault? I would, if I had to guess, I would assume that probably Upland wasn't aware that this was an extra step that was going to be required. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I'd say some lawyer somewhere ran their eyes over it.
Yeah.
And said, "Oh, hang on."
Yeah,
Which I kind of find funny because from my understanding, there are IP issues with other layer 2 projects from Upland. So like the legalities of using IP and images and different things. So yeah, the fact that Upland didn't realize that this was going to be a step that they needed to go through is kind of short-sighted for an organization of their size.
Yeah, it's a fair point. If I had to guess again, I would say it's probably the G word, the gambling, that's got the lawyers' eyebrows raised.
Oh, yes. And that really affects us too.
Yeah.
Because international treaties do have a big issue there,
Yes.
especially with anything Australians have access to.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the roadblock. If you remember last year's Genesis Week, there was, I think, two of the projects that were. It was at least one. It might have been two of the projects that presented was all gambling, and you could just tell the vibe, and even like watching it from afar, you tell the vibe in the room that the gambling aspect that Upland was just like they didn't want to know about gambling. So, yeah.
I think it's the difference between a lucky dip and a gamble. You have to figure out, is it more the lucky dip side or is it actual gambling?
Yeah, maybe it goes back to what we are talking about with the Board 8 Yacht Club. It's how it's always going to come down to how you word these things, isn't it? So,
yeah,
don't know. But yes.
That was the only thing. I feel really sorry for them all.
Yeah.
I can't say that enough. And I mean, it's not even a game that I think I would play. But I just feel really sorry for them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, hopefully, if it doesn't come to fruition, hopefully they're given the opportunity to rejig it in a way that they can get it out there because shitloads of work. Yeah. How about you, Zoe? Anything on your radar?
No, not really.
Chilling like a villain.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite sayings, that one.
Nice. Especially when you got kids, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, then I think that'll do us for this week. A reminder that if you are in a time zone that fits in with the Wednesday night recording schedule of starting at 7:30 p.m. AEST and you'd like to get involved, the link to the weekly Zoom will always be dropped in the NBA server about 15 minutes prior to the show starting. If you don't know what 7:30 p.m. AEST is, get yourself on over to dateful.com or just search Dateful Time Zone Converter and you can check that out and see if it works for you. That's all I've got. Thank you very much, ladies, for jumping in, and we'll catch you later. This Meditainment production is brought to you today by the Samurai Aquatics and Decor Metaventure. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor.